Hello, Paige Hopkins here. I'm joined by Rob Harrington, and we are at the NBPA Top 100 Camp in Virginia. It's a little different from our usual studio setup, but I think it'll do.
A little more background noise.
A little more background noise. So Rob, there are so many standouts here, and a lot of them have offers or are being recruited pretty heavily by UNC. So just starting off, who are some of the guys who have stood out to you during these past few days?
Well, I think what is very evident here is that this is a huge front court recruiting cycle for UNC. Sasha Jones is someone who's almost re-entered the picture since he recently decommitted from Virginia. He's been really good here and I think would fit the style of play in terms of having a big man who can score, face up and shoot some from 15 feet. He's gotten stronger. We'll need to continue to work on that and rebound better and become more physical. But then that would certainly work well if they could somehow get Bam Adebayo, who recently took an unofficial visit. Very strong and powerful. That would be a really complementary duo. In addition, Tony Bradley is another center who, if you were to pair him with someone like a Kalea Jones or DeJuan Huell, yet another big man here they've offered, they have a lot of possibilities for 5-4 tandems.
Right, and you mentioned Sasha Jones, who lives literally right down the street from UNC's campus. So a lot of these guys have offers from UNC, and they're offering more than in the past. What does that kind of say to you? Is that indicative of NCAA things or thoughts?
They had a small 2015 class, and I think they realized that they're going to have to hustle with 2016 because they have had to deal with this dark cloud for so long. They haven't been able to be maybe as methodical with their offers. I mean, all of these guys are good enough to help. I have for years thought that they could even be more liberal with their scholarship offerings. So I think this is a good step for them to take. Obviously they have to close on some of these guys, but I think they're in the mix. They got in at a reasonably early time. They knew whom they're going to need to watch in July. So it is a change for them, but I think, what's the expression, necessity being the mother of invention? Yeah. Very much true, and I think it was a good step.
So this is such a kind of what-if scenario, and it's all about making matches, but you kind of mentioned what happens if, Kalea Jones is matched with Bradley and things like that. Do you see any offensive changes in kind of UNC's style based on some of these recruits?
I think they still need a true back-to-the-basket scorer. There's not that Sean May out there, there's not that Tyler Hansbrough out there, but no one is able to get those guys consistently. It's extremely difficult. But I think certainly based on what they have been able to accomplish the past couple of years with Bryce Johnson and Kennedy Meeks, there are players in that talent range and that style range, they could make it work. Tony Bradley is not completely dissimilar from Meeks at that stage. They have their differences. Then you have some more face-up skilled guys like Bryce with Kalea Jones. There are some similarities there. Huell probably more closely resembles Isaiah Hicks. But they've had success with these guys when you're talking about a team that will be a national front-runner in 2016. And these are the kinds of players who may not pay off that way immediately, but these are the recruits you sign and you have a great team 2 or 3 years down the line, which is not an un-Carolina way of doing things.
Got it. And you talked about players paying off down the line. Is there anyone specific of some of the guys we've mentioned already who you think might, take a little more training or getting used to the college level?
I think all of those who are physically underdeveloped. I just sort of assume the first year will be developmental like it was for Johnson, like it was for Hicks. I think Kalea Jones would fit into that mold. I think Huell would fit into that mold, whereas Bradley and Adebayo, certainly Adebayo, would hit the ground running.
Great. Well, it'll be so exciting to keep watching. There's a lot of great prospects, but UNC will have to keep that recruiting process because I know so many of these guys are being heavily recruited by a lot of great schools. Thank you so much for watching.